It's John Beaudin and another part of our interview with the great Mark Farner, who was the main inspiration for Grand Funk Railroad. And it's a topic we talk about every single time we talk to Mark Farner. What about getting the original band back together?
There's a gentleman named Gary Weaver. He seems to be your biggest fan in the world, and he sent me a few questions, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
He says, looking back at the legacy of Grand Funk Railroad and all the music you recorded, bulk of it, of course, being yours, look at the relationship with the other two guys. I know there were three at one point, but what's your thoughts on Mel, Don, when you look back?
Well, my thoughts are that we started 20 years old. Mel was 19. Don and I were 20 when we had our first million selling album. Just kids. And we were learning fast. The lessons were coming. Whoa, So I really cherish the years that I got to spend with those guys. And I the way I look at it right now, Brother John, is they're just off their path. I've for 23 years, I've propositioned that we should go together, bury the hatchet, go back out and play music, because there's no other three people that can produce that music. There just isn't. The ingredients came from the three of us, and we still have that. They're still playing, I'm still playing. And if they would consider the fans, if they would just consider the fans and what the desires of our fans are, then, we could go do some shows, get back together, make people happy. Oh my God.
Be a big deal. Be such a big deal.
Oh my God, dude. And it is such a joy. It's infectious when people are happy, when people are responding to the music that you just played, and maybe they felt the same way that you did, brother, when you were listening to Closer to Home. There's something there. There's something that would be so much of a reward before we check out of our bone suits.
Bone suits, I love that.
That's where I'm at with it, brother. I'm ready.
The tune Never and Always video, I checked it out, loved it. Tell me about that song. Tell me about putting that together.
Well, my wife, Lisa, my better three quarters. I'm truthful. My better three quarters and I have this saying, and it's, I'm never going to leave you, and I'm always going to love you. And that's unconditional love. No matter what. I love her so much. She could not offend me. It's impossible. And think not that you stand lest you should fall. You got to get yourself prepared. But never and always is that unconditional love. That's what I'm talking about. And what I try to get across in my songs, and a lot of my songs, is that kind of love and that kind of freedom to have that love. And as I alluded to, that we are the only ones who can set ourselves free, but we can follow inspiration that has been, recorded in songs. Maybe somebody speaking that is hitting on all 8 cylinders, and you be inspired, but it's not up to that speaker. It is up to you to take that truth and hold that truth. It belongs to you. And, you have to kind of play this mind game where you block out anything that is contrary to that. Because once you get to that point I believe that love rewards you. And it's not for that purpose that you do it, but it's just totally unavoidable, John. That when you're motivated from your heart, and it is unpretentious, it is the real deal, then you are given a magnification that will attract people. It will attract people, but that's what you're here for. You're here to give, and give to people who are looking. And a lot of people are living as though they're going to be here forever. But that's, and in this whole mirage that we're living in, because nothing is as it appears to be.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. It's consuming us, and our aspirations seem to be in this temporal place, when if we could really get a hold of that love and forgive ourselves first, before you can forgive anyone else, you got to be able to forgive yourself. Then and only then it can grow and it can pass on, and it can be rewarding like it's supposed to be. Love is a rewarder of those who diligently seek it.
Have you ever, like, I'm hearing this and I'm going, the way you, that form of love, actually Richie said this, a very similar thing. He kind of almost broke up with his wife and I don't know if you know him, but then they got back together, and it was, and he's found his version of God, and it's like, he's a deeply spiritual man. But I asked him, I said, well, did you get off the path? And because Mark, sometimes I've really been at a point where I'm going, wow, this is working for me. I'm walking through the woods and seeing things. I'm noticing, like you were saying, watching the wind go through the trees when you were talking about writing that song. And then a year later, I go, what happened? What happened to that thing that worked so well? Because people get lost in the woods and they go, oh my God, when did I stop doing that? Where am I? Where you don't know you're lost? Has that ever happened to you, where because you live in a world of a lot of distractions when you were coming up? I mean, that's a lot of fame. You could have easily died. I mean, that kills people. Yes.
And you begin to participate in the mirage.
Yeah.
and it is unavoidable. That part is just definitely unavoidable. But what you were talking about, what you feel in, the Beatles music, what you feel, if we could go according to that, and if we could somehow walk without these eyes and these ears, our senses get us in trouble. They take us out of that spot. But it is so rewarding to be there. And I'd like to live there 100% of the time, brother. But there are souls that need to be moved out and need to be reminded of things that are in this mirage that we walk through. And I think, that it is part of our assignment is to set those captives free. And I try to do it with music. I sincerely play and write lyrics now. I'm working with Mark Slaughter from the group Slaughter. Mm-hmm. He's producing some music, my music that I'm writing, and we wrote a song, together. It's called Anymore. That's I think it has that anointing on it. It's a rock song. I mean, it is a rocker. But people that I've played it for, I have a rough mix of it, and we haven't really mixed everything down because we're still working on material to accumulate and make either a CD or something, a a bunch of songs, at least 10.
Will it be a duo album, or will it be him sitting in with you? What will it be? What does it look like so far?
No, he's producing me, and we've co-written this one song, Anymore, just because he was hearing something and I was listening to what he was hearing as a second verse, and I said, "Oh man, that makes perfect sense, dude." And he is part Native American as well. He's Cherokee, as well as, I'm an eighth Cherokee, and we really we fit together. We are so much alike that I can hear his thoughts before he even expresses them. I'm thinking, oh yeah, and just working together. I'm happy. I'm really happy about what we're doing, but now it's to the point where he's on the road and doing, he's got to go make his cash, and then I'm on the road and I got to go make my cash. After this COVID BS, it put us out of money for a couple of years there, and yeah, things got tightened up on us. So it's taken a little while longer than what we had hoped it would take, but that's giving it some extra refining that we wouldn't have had time for.
Do you recognize those people in your life more now? I mean, because sometimes, those gifts, those great people in our lives, when we're young, we don't always notice it. It's kind of like telling a 20-year-old, what do you think it'll be like when you're 50? They'll go, I don't want to think about that. They don't have the software yet, right? To have the foresight, or to look at the future rather. But you must be better at, connecting with the right people. Because I mean, for that purpose, let's just say with Mark.
Yeah, well, my antenna is up.
Yeah.
And part of my awareness is some of the things that I've experienced in my life, that the memories of those things stay with me. And when I passed from my body, when I had my pacemaker put in, I died a couple of times. I was in heaven. I didn't want to come back, John. I did not want to come back to this.
You had told me before, you heard them in that room, right? You were here. You could hear them all in that room, right?
Yes.
That's crazy. Wow.
And, but that is part of my, I'm so adamant about debt consciousness. And because when I was coming back into the bone suit, I was given that. It was a clear picture to me that this is the plague of the world, and those people who control that debt are evil people. They don't have the kind of conscience that you and I are talking about here this morning. In fact, it is their ambition to deceive us and to take us away from that. It is so dark and evil, but folks are gullible, and they can't even go there in their mind that there is powers and principalities that rules the darkness of our world and the spiritual wickedness in high places. They give no thought to that. But it is for anyone who has experienced what I've experienced, it is part of the battle. And for us to help people, we got to sometimes say things that we might be uncomfortable saying, but they need to be said. And not just for the sake of knocking somebody off of their feet for a minute, but for the sake of hanging on to that truth so that you don't lose hold of it. You gotta hang on to it, because there's those other forces that are wanting to rob you
Remember, if you want to support the channel, there are links in the description at the very top where you can help us out with either through PayPal or Patreon. You'll get early releases and you'll get to see everything before everybody else. Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. Share them on the appropriate groups that you may be part of on Facebook or share them on Twitter. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music. More from Mark Farner in the next few days.